Have you been diagnosed with a disc injury that just isn't getting better? You're trying injections, you've gone to the chiropractor, you've tried decompression, you've tried lots of things and it's not getting any better. Well, I'd like to share with you a little secret as to why it might not be getting better and what to do about it. Thanks to Dr. Michael MODIC, who is a radiologist who discovered something called what he termed MODIC changes, M-O-D-I-C. MODIC changes. What are they? How do they happen? How do you get them resolved? Let's talk about it in this video. So Dr. Michael MODIC was studying x-rays and MRIs, and what he discovered was that there were bone changes on MRIs in what we call the T1 image and the T2 image. And I'm going to share with you in a moment what that is. So he was looking at MRIs and he discovered there were 3 phases of MODIC. MODIC 1, MODIC 2, and MODIC 3. So one of the reasons why your discs might not be getting better is because there is no disc pumping, right? So here's the bone, here's the disc, here's the bone. You should have this pumping motion like a heartbeat. And that's how discs get nutrients in and get waste out. Now, this bone is not solid. It is a honeycomb filled with blood vessels. And those blood vessels are what supply this disc with the nutrients they need, but also take the waste out. And what happens is when you misalign your spine via x-rays, that's how we see it in our office, when you misalign the spine, you put pressure on the disc where it doesn't belong, and the pumping motion no longer pumps. So when it no longer pumps, there's no hydrostatic pressure to put nutrients in and get waste out. And what happens is the disc starts dying, but so does the bone. And there's predictable changes that we can see that Dr. Michael MODIC discovered. MODIC 1 is if it is dark on T1 and light on T2 in the bones. MODIC 2, like we're going to see here, is light on T1 and light on T2. And then MODIC 3 is dark on T1 and T2. And MODIC 1, when there's dark on T1 and light on T2, and by the way, your medical doctor or your chiropractor should absolutely be reading their own MRIs like we do, because if not, there's a 43.6% error rate that they could be missing this. So we work hard not to miss this because we read our own images. So MODIC 1 with dark on T1 and light on T2 means that the bone has an inflammatory process going on, which can cause pain. So the disc could be injured. You're treating the disc and the disc isn't getting better. It's not feeling better because it could be the bone, the MODIC change. MODIC 2, as you're, again, seeing here, light in T1, light in T2 means the inflammatory process has gotten to the point where you're actually putting fat deposit in the bones. So there's no pumping motion, it becomes inflamed, it doesn't pump long enough, the disc becomes injured, bulging, herniation, tears, decay, and then the bone starts changing at the end plate right here called MODIC changes. Dr. Michael MODIC discovered MODIC 1, he called, an inflammatory process which can cause pain. MODIC 2, fat deposition, you're depositing fat in the bone and that can cause pain. And finally, MODIC 3, the pump has stopped pumping long enough and the bone is dying. So if your chiropractor or your medical doctor are not reading the MRIs, they're missing potential MODIC changes and they're missing potential reasons why you're still having the pain, even if you're symptomatically treating the disc. In our office, we read our MRIs, we look for these MODIC changes, and one of the things that we do with our trademark DOSAE is re-engage the disc pump so that we can start pumping back into the disc and we can end the decay process or the MODIC changes. So again, if your doctor's not reading the MRI or if you have MODIC changes and they're not being addressed, the only way to address is by re-establishing disc pump, then you might have consistent and persistent pain on what is perceived as disc injuries. You might have shots and injections and chiropractic and decompression and surgery for a disc. But if you never restore the pumping motion, then the MODIC changes don't stop and they get worse and you're actually having bone pain instead of just disc pain. So be careful. The little secret is, if you've got MODIC changes, you've got to address the pumping motion because then your bones are potentially causing the pain.